Hi there, welcome to Transcone Trailer Sales. Today we'll be walking you through your 2019 Rpod 179. We are just going to start off the back of the unit. If you notice up top, you are pre-wired for your Furan observation camera. If you'd like to get set up with that, you can contact our parts department. They can put together a quote for you. You do have a receiver out in the back here. Just keeping in mind how much weight you do put on there. Really, it is just for bike racks. You're not going to be towing too much else back there. And then around the driver's side of the unit, come to your standard 30 amp twist lock connection. You're just taking note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on this side. Line that up, firm into place, 8th turn to lock it down if you follow that. And then you got that threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do your standard 30 amp plug-in. Most campsites should have this and you can plug right on in. But let's say you have the unit at home or your campsite only has 15 amp service, which is just a standard outlet. We do include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keep it in mind when you go down to 15 amps of power, it's just kind of to run your fridge and your lights and charge up your battery. You're not going to be running your air conditioner. You do run the risk of tripping the breaker. In this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you got your stabilizer jacks. The way those guys work is you're just going to take your 3/4 inch drive tool, hook it up to the drive nut, run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just giving another 1/8 quarter turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see having the unit right now. And just a note, they are stabilizing jacks. They aren't leveling jacks. And if you're using an impact to run them up and down, just keep in mind of how much torque you're going to put on them, because you do run the risk of bending them pretty easily. Got your cable satellite connection. You do have your exterior shower. It's just your standard 751 key. To get into that, open it up, you have hot and cold water right at your shower. Get your 2 fridge service ports, there's not much you need to worry about there. And then if you come down, twisting those 2 ears off, you get those 2 ears there. It's the same ears your sewer hose would have. You're just lining those guys up like so and twisting and locking into place. And you're locked in. This is gonna be your gray valve, so this is gonna be the one you're gonna wanna empty last. It's gonna be your cleanest water filled from your sinks and your showers. You got your 2 low point drains right here. So if you're leaving the unit for a while, don't want the water going stale or stagnant, pop these guys off, drains all the water, most of the water outside of the lines. Aside from that, it is good to crack them open after you're done winterizing. Further up ahead, you got your black tank drain. This is the one you're gonna wanna empty first. It's gonna be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. You just gotta twist this cap off, just like the one up front, and your sewer hose would connect to it. Again, this is going to be the one you want to do first as it's your dirtiest water. That's your furnace exhaust, so whenever that's running, it's going to be blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. And then you do your fresh water connection, taking that cap off. You just want to put a garden hose inside there, turn it on, and that is what's going to fill your fresh tank, and that's what your water pump draws off of. And then just because we just talked about it, you got your drain right down here at the bottom. Loosen this cap off would allow all this drain to come out of the tank. City water connection, so if you're at a site with service, thread a garden hose in there, turn it on, it pressurizes all those lines without the needing to run your water pump. Then you do get your little sewer hose storage area. That's typically where you're going to want to store that sewer hose. We do have a brand new one located inside the front compartment. That's why it's not in here yet. But after your first use, that is where you're going to want to keep that. Pulling this tab, unlocking, and this is where you get your hot water service port. You're going to notice this little on-off switch down on the left-hand corner. That is just to convert it from gas to electric. Gas is going to be the most efficient, fastest way to get hot water. Electric is going to be more energy efficient. I'm going to go over a reset procedure inside. The button I'm going to refer to is just right here. Whenever you first get to your campsite, given that pressure release valve is full, there should be a shot of water coming out of there, letting you know that the tank's full. We do currently have the tank drained just because I summarized it. We're not sure when you're going to use it next. So I drained it with this 1 1/8" drain bolt right down here at the bottom. Loosen that off, pull that out, and that is how you're going to drain that tank. It is also an anode rod, which does wear out time to time. So always keeping an eye on that every couple trips. You got your 27 RV located, or 24 RV located right at the front. 30-pound propane tank, which is pretty much just like home. Counterclockwise all the way to open up the flow to the unit. You got your spare tire located right at the front here. And then inside this compartment here, opening that guy up, you get this another little exterior portable water sprayer on this side. You're just taking note of those 2 notches there. Lines up with these 2 notches on this side. Press into place and twist, locks it in, and you'd have water coming out. And you can thread this into a garden hose nozzle onto this, so you can use it that way as well. You got your starter kit, which does have that 10-foot sewer hose, a 15-foot water hose, and some other miscellaneous goodies, including that 15-amp park adapter, which I've already told you about. You got your 3/4 inch drive tool, which I also noted, for your stabilizer jacks. Right here, you're going to notice you do have your black tank flush. So the way that works is, reading the caution sticker, you do have to have your sewer hose connected and your black tank open for you to use this. If you don't, you do run the risk of bursting your tank. The reason being is, if you're pushing pressure into the tank and the pressure has nowhere to go, it's going to expand the tank to possibly the point of cracking. So always being mindful again that whenever you're using it, just making sure you're hooked up and open. Now take a step on inside, grab that door, you can open it up. Just being careful because it does stop on that fender. You got a little rubber stop there, but you don't want to push on it too hard and bend anything. Pull your stairs out. Then you can take a step on inside the unit. First thing you notice off on your left is that fire extinguisher. Pretty simple. Throw the pin and shoot just like home. Now up over on this wall is where you're going to get all your controls for the unit. Interior lights, all the living space lights are on a light switch. You got a porch light. Then you don't have the awning LED or the awning on this unit, but you do have the awning extend, or the slide out extend, sorry. Pushing that slide out extend button, slide out's going to start making its way out. Always making sure you know what's on either side of the slide, inside and out, before you operate it. And once it gets to its full extension, you are just going to hear the motors wind up and cut out, just like so. And then you do have a little capacity indicator, so it's going to show you that it is charging because this unit is equipped with solar power. That being mentioned, you got your solar controller right up top. There's a bunch of different settings you can get into if you go through the owner's manual, but they do get pretty in depth. We currently do just have it set up for your basic charging so that if there's sun outside, it's going to be providing a charge to that battery. Got your water heater switch, so turning that on. This fault light's going to come on. If you're on gas, it's going to try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, the fault light's going to stay on, in which case you have to turn the switch off, go hit the reset button I showed you earlier, and then try firing it right back up. But if you did have the other switch on the water heater on, it would be electric, so you just turn that on and it would be on instantly. Then you got your water pump switch, which draws out of your fresh tank, and then you got your monitor panel system with the corresponding levels once you press the button. And then on the wall, you do have your thermostat. Pushing it once, it illuminates itself. Pushing it again, you get into fan setting. Now with it on auto, it means it's an on-demand system, so the fan's going to kick in and out as needed. So essentially, if you're on the air conditioning mode, you have the room set to 21. If you're initially at 24, once the room does come down to 21, it'll kill the air conditioner. If you have it on high or low, the fan's going to run full time regardless of what's going on otherwise. And whenever you have the furnace on, there is only one fan setting. Pushing the button again, you're going to get into cool. So now that's that air conditioning I told you about. So at that point, it's going to fire up that air conditioner like we heard just now. Pushing the button again will get you over to furnace. So that's going to kill the air conditioner and fire up the furnace. Whenever you're running the air conditioner, you have a few different options. You've got all these movers around here, so you can close them and point them and open them as you desire for where you want the air to point. And whenever your furnace is running, it does just put all its air through this guy right here. So if you want to get a fan to put under there or something just to blow that air around a little bit, you could do so. Now right down below here, you're going to notice we do have our LP detector, and that is because this unit is equipped with propane. If this guy ever starts going off, don't panic. Just turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit, open up some windows and vents just to ventilate things out a little bit. Then you got your main fuse and breaker panel. Whenever a breaker trips, it'll sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. Whenever you have a fuse blow, it'll be on the right. Storage all around. Coming to your stove. This is glass, so being gentle with it when you're opening and closing it. If you have the propane on, it's pretty simple. Turning it over to the high/light option, hitting it with a lighter, does fire right on up. So I will mention now that Whenever you turn off the propane and have it off, it allows air into the system. So sometimes it can take a few seconds to purge all that air out. So whenever you first get to your campsite, if you're turning your propane back on, I recommend firing up your furnace or your stove first thing to allow all that propane to purge out. Once that's done, you can go and fire up your water heater or your furnace. The reason I'm saying that is just so you're not getting any fault codes throwing at you in case the furnace tries lighting itself 3 times. It's not going to try for a 4th time, and it could throw a fault code. Storage all around. You got your kitchen sink. Then you got your microwave, which is pretty much just like home. Not much I'm going to show you there. Then you do got your Dometic fridge, travel latch to open that up. You do have to push it to open it. And all your controls for it are up top here. So turning it on, you got all those different settings you can turn it on to. So you can have it on auto, in which case it's going to first search for shore power. Once shore power is taken away, it'll automatically switch over to gas. If you want it to run solely on gas, you have to depress that button, and you're going to see just the gas come on. If the check were to come on, it's just letting you know that it failed to fire on gas. Back into auto, and then you can run it on DC or AC as well. Again, just always making sure that you have it on. I recommend leaving it on auto. But if you do run it on gas, making sure you're always keeping up with the gas at the front of the unit, because if you run out, it's not going to switch back over to shore power if you don't have any. Setting for your temperature on the right, 5 being the coldest setting, 1 being the warmer setting. Your slide out area, this does fold out into a little bed. You just have to pull on the foot of the couch and it folds right on out. And then to get it back up, you pull it right back up. Nice little addition in case you have some guests. Storage all around. This is a fire exit. So all you're having to do is lift those tabs out of the way, push the window, and it does pop right on out. And you can hop on out of the unit. Then to close it back, you're just having to pull it towards you. Close those clamps back down. Simple as that. Nice little cup holder here for the couch. Now, taking a step on into the bathroom, light switches on the outside here on the wall. Opening that up, 2-in-1 system. So you got your sink, your shower head, and your toilet all in one. Right up top, you're gonna notice you do have a roof vent fan. Opening up that guy all the way. Fan switch on this side here. You got 4 different fan speeds. Now, up on the wall here, you got your main stereo system, pretty much just like home, minus the fact of you having this little knob here, just to choose between which speakers you want. So you got inside, middle is going to be for both of them, and then all the way to the right is just the outside. So again, that's going to be a personal preference. On the other side, you do have your 12-volt TV, and up on the wall, you're going to notice your coax outlet. It's got this little black button that turns this little red light on. That does turn the antenna on the roof. Now that also improves radio frequency and cell phone frequency, but I do recommend turning that off once you're done with the unit because it does draw battery power. Then you got your bedroom space, and of course, your little foldable table for front of your couch. Bedroom space, storage underneath. If you lift up this mattress, that back panel there's got 2 screws holding it in. If you pull the 2 screws out, that's going to give you access to your water pump and your water heater for winterization. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.